What's up everybody, and welcome to another episode of Working on the Honda. So in this video we're going to do window tints. I've been meaning to tint this car for a while, and the cool thing about it is once you buy the kit to do it, you have everything you need. Obviously you have to learn how to do it, but the kits for this car, all 4 windows and the rear glass, $30, so it's really not bad at all. And even if you mess it up, do it again for 30, or I think they'll sell you individual windows. I just get them off of eBay. Tint Pro, I think, is the seller. But yeah, I've had really good success with it. The tints are pretty high quality, and the jobs that I've done, most of them stay for a long time. I had a couple of issues with some peeling, but they're so cheap, you know, I just end up doing them again, and you know, they last good for the second time around. I mean, sometimes you have the occasional issue and bubble, but when you're doing it in your own garage, you know, sometimes you're gonna have a little bit of particulate in it, but it's really not noticeable whatsoever. Like from the outside, you can't tell, but from the inside, sometimes you can see a little piece of dust in underneath the film, but not too worried about it. It looks really good once it's done. I went with 35% on the front 2 windows because that's legal in the state of Connecticut, and on the rear windows, you can go as dark as you want. But I don't want too dark because I still want to be able to see out of the back glass at night, and I want it to match the front windows pretty well, so I decided to go with 25%. So 35%, 25%, it should match pretty good, and also give me a little bit more darkness in the back, which will be nice. So I'm going to get to it. I'm going to show you guys the steps in the process, but it's not too difficult, but you just have to make sure that everything that you do is very thorough. Like all the cleaning steps are very thorough. That way you'll end up with a good job in the end. So we're going to get to it. We're going to start in the back. This window right here is the first one we're going to do. So I'm going to start by mixing my solution that I'm going to use to tint and to wash the windows, and then I'll show you guys all the tools that I have and I'll be using. So here we are next to our window. I'm going to show you guys the steps that I take. So what I got here is a microfiber, and I got some tools here like this nice squeegee, this tool for scraping, and this other tool for scraping. I bought all these tools in an eBay kit. I think it was like $20 or $30, not too bad. And this razor blade here is also important for scraping. I'm in the way of the light here, but yeah, so I'll show you guys. You want to scrape your window. So you just give it a nice spray with this spray here, and what this spray is actually baby shampoo. It's Johnson's baby shampoo. I'll show you guys the bottle, and the rest of it's water. So it's just like 1 tablespoon of Johnson's baby shampoo, and fill it up the rest of the way with water in a nice spray bottle, and that's going to be like a good lubricant for putting your tints on, and the tint won't stick once you spray this on, but you guys will see all that. So yeah, you just want to kind of systematically go through here and scrape your entire window with the razor blade to make sure there's no particulate on your window, and you want to be really thorough. Make sure you get everywhere. I've already done it, so I'm not going to do it again, but now I'm about to roll down this window here, scrape this top edge. But you know, the more times you clean it, the better. You just want to be really thorough with it, and yeah, so just, you know, use your squeegee and just wipe it. Just keep wiping it down, keep squeegeeing it, keep spraying it. And then you also want to clean out inside of all these crevices here. So like this area right here, you can stick your hard tool in your rag and like scrape out inside here, all on the inside, because there's dirt in here, and you want to get rid of that dirt so it doesn't get sucked out into you know, your tint, because that could get under your tint and you could end up with some nasty looking stuff under the tint. So you don't want to do that. So just keep working at it, make sure it's really clean, make sure it's scraped really good, and then we're going to roll down the window and leave it cracked, and then we can start to find our tint for this window here. So right now what I've done is clean the window thoroughly. I got it rolled down just a crack, and you know, maybe like an inch of roll down. And what I did was I sprayed this whole side down pretty good. I sprayed the other side down, and I laid the tint on the other side of the window here, and I laid it so that when I pull the film off, the tint will be left on the outside of the window with the sticky side facing out. So what that allows me to do is get rid of the film, and then I'll take it, flip this over after spraying that whole side down, and put it up here. But I'm gonna leave just a little bit of the film on the bottom, and I'll be able to work it and get it lined up all along the top edge, and then I'll make sure that it's nice and laid flat. And after that, I'll roll the window up, and then I will wet the bottom again, and then pull the rest of the film off and tuck it into the seal down here. And then I'll worry about smoothing all the bubbles out. So I'm gonna get to doing that. I won't talk much because it's kind of a difficult process, but I'm gonna try to stay concentrated and knock it out, see if we can do it without any issues. So just gonna douse this again, and make sure you use enough. That way the tint doesn't stick right away, because you need to be able to move it around. I'm gonna bring this bottle with me. I'm gonna go ahead and peel this film off of here. As I do it, I'm gonna spray it. Okay. So we're just gonna peel it off in good ways, but not all the way. It's a little tough to see how far we are. That should be enough. So just a little bit more onto it up here. Okay, that should be enough. So now what we're going to do is grab this tint off of here. Be very careful with it. Bring it over here, open the window. I'm going to position this guy up on the window like this. Try not to let it touch anything. Thankfully this is Johnson's baby shampoo. I just got some in my eyes, but it didn't burn because no more tears. So thankfully that helped out. So I'm just going to try to tuck this as best I can. I'm going to be careful not to crease the tint in any areas. Creasing is not good for the tint, because sometimes those creases will not come out. So over here I'm going to give myself a little bit more tint. I'm going to try to tuck it. Tuck it underneath here. Kind of a delicate process. You got to be, you know, really gentle with it and patient as well. Once you get it where you like it though, and you're pretty lined up, you want to try to line up this top edge as good as possible, but not too close, because you want to give yourself something so that it doesn't peel off on you. But I'm having a tough time tucking this edge over here. It can be a pain, it really can. So you just got to do your best and be patient with it. And that's why you spray a lot of that solution, because it helps to keep it wet for a while. So I'm gonna grab my spray, and I'm liking where that's sitting right now, so I'm gonna go ahead and make sure it's positioned exactly where I want it on the window. I like as tight of a gap as possible, and then I'll just give it a squeegee and try to squeegee all the stuff out of there. You can always readjust it a little bit. I'll move it a little bit for myself. Okay. And then I'm just going to go ahead and squeegee it. Okay. So what you want to do now is probably spray a little bit more. It's this stuff is pressure activated, so when it's pressed against the window without any of the lubricant that we're using, that's when you're actually going to see it start to stick. So we're going to use like a tool like this, and this should help me to tuck it into the jams like that. And what I'm going to do is just push pretty hard here, and I'm activating that glue, and it should stick to the window pretty good after doing this. We can try to work this tint in, and this is when you want to be careful not to crease it anywhere. If things aren't lining up like you want to, you gotta just try to work with it gently. But yeah, we're looking pretty good here. Alright, so I think I'm about ready to actually roll up the window itself. So yeah, we're starting to look a little better over there. So now I'm gonna go key the car on, roll the window up because our top edge is pretty good over here. And we're just about ready to do the rest of the window. Sometimes I like to just clean the top edge here. Clean the other side too. Make sure we don't have any bubbles. You just take a quick visual inspection, make sure you're stuck all the way. And I'm gonna go roll the windows up. So now I'm gonna go ahead and spray underneath. Make sure we're nice and wet under here. And I can remove this and start to tuck it up onto the window, like so. So we can go ahead and use a tool here if we want. So at this point in time, we are pretty well stuck. You can probably see down in the bottom here though, we have these little things coming up here. We call those fingers. And those fingers right there, they don't look good. And basically the way it works is, tint can only stretch one way. You know, if you think about it like a window, if it bends this way, that's fine. If it bends this way up and down, that's fine. But if it bends both ways, then the tint can't quite do that, so it wrinkles in some areas. So it needs to be shrunk. And a lot of these kits say that they come pre-shrunk, but I find that that's not always the case. They don't always fit that great. So we have to shrink it ourselves. So I'm gonna grab my heat gun and my hard card, and I'll show you guys how to shrink the tint to make it fit a little bit better. So hopefully this is a good shot of some of these fingers here that I got on the driver's side door. I got 3 of them. One right here, here, and here. So I'm going to fire up the heat gun, and maybe you guys can see it. Maybe, hopefully you can see when they squiggle. I'm going to let it heat up a little bit. And this guy's going to get nice and warm. See, it gets a little bit cloudy on the inside. I don't want to go too far, but just give it a nice squish down after that, and now that one's much smaller. So we'll hit the next one. All we're doing here is just shrinking the tint in these areas. When it squiggles like that, it's shrinking. You just want to hit all of these. And they'll pop back up on you. And sometimes you'll get some in some new areas that you haven't seen yet. But that means you can shrink it there too. This one came all the way up. Push that one down. Go back to this one here. And each time they're going to get a little smaller. So it's the following day, and I was able to revisit all these windows and get the fingers that were inside. Did the fronts and the backs, everything cleaned up really nice. The tint looks pretty flawless. It's nice and dark. It looks much darker at an angle, obviously, but back has yet to be tinted. I'm about to attempt this tonight. This is what I'm most worried about. Backs are really tough for me because you don't want to touch the tint on any sort of fabric when you're on your way in, because it'll pick up dust and debris, and then you'll see it in the tint. And I've had a tough time with rear windows in the past, but we're gonna see if we can get this to come out perfect like the rest of the windows did, because I'm super happy with everything. These windows look really good. I'll show you from the other side. But yeah, I'm pumped. Just gotta get this back window done. So I've got the tint all laid out on the glass here, and I cut out the area where the defroster is gonna sit, this area right here, because there's like a defroster connection right here, and I know the tint was gonna be in the way of that. So I laid it out perfectly, made sure that it was gonna cover everywhere, and I made sure I had it the correct way, and then I cut this section out. So when I go to put it in the car, hopefully it clears the defroster. If not, I'll cut it a little bit bigger. I just used a razor blade right on the glass here. Brand new razor blade, really sharp. But yeah, so now all I gotta do is spray the inside really good and get it wet, and then douse this once I peel it off. And then I'm gonna try to walk in, and they call it Frankenstein, when you hold it over your arms, like, you know, with your arms out, and then you kind of get in the car without touching it or anything. So I'll let you guys see that, but it's probably just gonna be a time lapse. So it's like several days later, and I finally did finish the windows on this car. I've been going back and hitting little areas that pop up, like down on the bottom here you get some fingers, and I've just been using the heat gun and trying to fix them. But 35%. It's not too dark, but you can tell it's tinted. I mean, in comparison to the front windshield, you can see right in here, and at the right angle you can barely see in here, so it's pretty nice. Back being 25%, bit harder to see in. You see mostly reflection in the back here, but side windows came out great. But I have a confession to make. The back window, I'm not gonna hide anything from you guys, it's terrible. I messed it up really good. So there's a few things that I would change about the way I did this. For starters, the tint, it really wasn't cut correctly, and I just decided it was probably fine, and it wasn't fine. So down here at the bottom, it was way long. Like when I laid it out on the outside of the window, you'll probably see in that clip, maybe not, but it's long. It came down past this little molding here, which means it has to go past the carpet and all the way down here. And it wasn't doing it. You know, there was way too much tint. It was all buckled up in here, and I had nowhere to put that tint. So afterwards I went through and I ended up cutting it inside here with a razor knife and a pair of needle nose pliers because I could barely get in there, and I cut through areas. And also what I want to do for the next one is I want to pre-shrink it on the outside of the glass, because you know with the heat gun you're actually shrinking the tint. So inside it's very tough to get the heat gun in these small areas like this where these little fingers are popped up. And so if you try to squeegee it, you try to hard card it, you will crease the tint like what I did here. See these areas right here, these are creases, and you'll never get that out of the tint. That's going to be there forever if you crease it once. So I'm going to try to pre-shrink it so I don't end up creasing the tint anywhere when I try to get the fingers out, because there's too much tint and it overlaps itself. And the other thing I want to do is start from the middle and work my way out, because I think I started on a side and I trapped myself. But yeah, I mean, you live and learn. Side windows all came out great. I'm super happy with all of them. No fingers whatsoever. I think this one might have a little finger right on the edge there. But I mean, these things are not even noticeable. If you're driving by, nobody's gonna notice these little imperfections. But you know, all in all, really happy with the job. And for like 30 bucks, and then plus the kit, which I've had, it really makes the car look a ton better. Like, I'm loving the way it looks, and from the inside it's much cooler inside and darker. So yeah, definitely worth tinting your own car, but I'd say it definitely takes some practice to do these back windows. But I think the next one I'm gonna do is gonna be the best one. So stay tuned. I'll do the back glass over, and if my new techniques work, then I'll let you guys know. But yeah, thanks for watching. Appreciate it. Hopefully you learned something, and maybe you want to try something like this yourself. You can always ask questions in the comments, stuff like that. But yeah, I'll see you in the next one.